Hello friends, welcome to another session of video tutorials on C#.NET Programming by Example. This is part 3 of this series. In today's session we are going to cover control statements and loops. Please subscribe to this channel, share, comment and like the videos on this channel. Okay, let us take a look at the topics which we are going to cover today. The topics which we are going to cover today are control statements, which is if, else and switch statement, and later on we will cover loops, for loop, while loop, do while, break, continue and goto statement. Okay, there are only 3 loops, which is for loop, while loop and do while, and there is a advanced for loop which we will take a look at later on. And for all these loops we will take a look at break, continue and goto statement. Okay, let us start off with control statements. There are 2 types of control statements. One is if else and the other one is switch statement. First we will take a look at if statement. In if statement, an execution starts and it checks for a condition and it follows 2 paths. One is true path and the other one is false path. That is, if the condition is true, then it is going to follow this path, which is true path, and then executes the statement and comes to an end. If the condition is not satisfied, then it is going to follow the false path and then it will execute other statements and comes to an end. Okay, let us take a look at an example of if-else statement. Okay, let us create another project of type console application. So this is give the project name as conditions underscore loops and have the location set and the solution name. So you can give a different solution name here also and set the framework and then click on OK to create the project. Okay, by default it has created a main method. So inside this I'm going to declare a variable called age. Okay, okay, I'm going to check this age now. If age equals 30, else okay. So as we have seen from the PowerPoint presentation that this is my if else condition. So if the condition, so this is the condition, okay, age equals 30 is the condition. Okay, if this is true, then it is going to follow true path. else it is going to take the false path. That means since I have age declared as 30, since this age equals to 30 evaluates to true, then it is going to follow this path, which is age is 30, and it is going to print this value. So let us execute this and see. Press Ctrl F5. Okay, so it has printed age is equal to 30. So if I change this to, let us say, 35 and execute it again, so it's going to follow the false path, that is age is not 30. Let us go back to our slides again. Okay, there are a few things to remember for if statement. It is not mandatory to have a else block. Okay, and the second point is you can nest the if else statement. The third one is once if condition is satisfied, else block is ignored. Fourth one is it is also not mandatory to have the statements inside the flower brackets. If it is not provided, it will execute only the first statement after the if statement or else statement. Okay, let us take a look at each of them through an example. Okay, I'm going to comment this out. Okay, so currently I have only if block. Only when if block the condition is satisfied, then only this will get printed. This will get printed. Else there is no else block, so it is not going to print anything. So let us run this example again. Okay, program has executed, but it has not printed anything. Okay, because the condition is not true and there is no else block. Okay, so this says that it is not mandatory to have else block. Okay, the second one is you can nest the if else statement. Okay, so let us take this one out again, uncomment this part. Now what I will do is I'll slightly modify this example to include okay, let us change it back to 30 age. So here I will check for if it is less than 30, else if age is greater than 30, else so this is age is greater than 30, age is less than 30. So now I have nested if, so it is going to check for this statement. If the condition becomes true, then it is going to print this, else it is going to check again another condition, and if this condition is satisfied, then it is going to print this value. Else if none of the conditions are satisfied, then it is going to go ahead and print this age is 30. So in this condition I have the age assigned with value 30, so this condition will become false and this condition will also become false, and then it is going to print age is 30. Okay, let us run this again. Control F5. Okay, age is 30. So I will change this value to, let us say, 35, and Control F5 again. Age is greater than 30, and if I give the age as 5, again press Control F5, age is less than 30. Okay, so this is how we can nest if else. Let us go back to slide again. Okay, now the third statement says once if condition is satisfied, else block is ignored. So we have already seen that if the first condition is satisfied, then it will print this, and then it doesn't even check these values or these conditions. Okay, so that clarifies that particular statement. Now it is also not mandatory to have the statement inside flower brackets. Let us take a look at this one now. So let us flip over to Visual Studio again. So now I'll completely take this out. Okay, so let us switch our age back to 30. Now if age equals 30, then earlier I had flower brackets here. Now I'm not going to have any flower bracket here, and this will be followed by a statement. So age is 30 in double quotes. Now I'll have else block, which is followed by again age is not 30. Okay, so this will be followed by another statement, which is finished executing if else. Okay, now let us run this, and since I have only one statement, this is the first statement. After if and the first statement after else block. Okay, so now I have one statement after if and one statement after else. So let us run this and see what we're going to get. Now it says age is 30. Okay, so let us add one more statement after if age is equal to 30 statement, which is okay. So now as soon as I add one more statement here, it is giving me an error saying that okay, this is expected. Okay, which is flower bracket is expected because there is if and there is else block. So that means you cannot have more than one statement if you have if and else, you cannot have more than one statement after if block. Okay, so let us add this here. Okay, I have taken this one out since we were getting error, so I will put it as put it under else statement. Okay, okay, instead of if, I have put it in else statement. So now I'm not getting any error here, but let us change this value from 30 to 35 and execute this. Control F5 again. Now you see what happened. So since this age is equal to 30 is not true, then it is going to go to else block. So this is my else block, and then it will print this checking the age here. Okay, it is checking the age here, and it says age is not 30. Okay, and then it has printed finished executing if else. Okay, now from this we cannot clearly see whether only one statement is executed or this was part, this age is not 30 is also part of else block. Okay, so for that what we will do is we will change the age back to 30. Okay, and then press Ctrl F5 again. Okay, so now you can see age is 30 and it has printed age is not 30 and finished executing if else statements. From this it is very clear that it is going to take a look at only the first statement. Okay, so now this statement age is not 30 is not part of else condition. Only this is part of this statement is only part of else block. Now this has become a statement after if else, so which will execute no matter whether the condition is true or false. Okay, from here we have also seen from the day 2 topic we talked about assignment operator, arithmetic operator, relational operator, logical, and different types of operators, right? So in this we have also seen one or two operators, which is we have seen equals. There is a difference between this. Also, this is a conditional statement and this is an assignment statement. So from day 2 topic we have seen different types of operators. We have covered some of them here, which is assignment and then conditional. We have also seen less than or greater than earlier. So we have seen all of these. Now we will move on to switch statement. This is again another conditional statement wherein it will start the execution and it will evaluate the expression. Once the evaluated expression matches a particular case, then it is going to execute the following statement for that particular case which has matched, and then if we have a break it will come out. So if none of the cases match, then it will execute the default case and then it will execute the following statement after the default case, and then it will come out. Okay, let us take a look at example now. Let us switch back to Visual Studio. Now I'm going to create another class here. So this I'm going to call it as switch demo .cs. Okay, since I can only have one main program inside a particular project, what I will do is I will go to programs and then comment out this entire class, and I'll switch to this switch demo, and then I need to add main method here. So SVM is the short form, and double tab will get you the main method. Now inside this, what I will do is I will create a variable of type char. And I will initialize it with a value. Okay, so now I will define switch statement, switch, and the expression is ch. It is going to evaluate ch, and then case, so a, which is followed by statement which is again followed by break. Okay, I will have only default, which is again followed by an executable statement which is and then I'm going to have break here. Okay, note that default will not have any expression to match or any value to match. Okay, so what will happen here is, so this is ch is a variable of type char whose value is character A. So now this is the switch statement. So this is the switch statement now. So this is the switch statement now. In this, what will happen is it will evaluate ch, which is our variable which holds a character. And now after evaluating this expression, so it is going to go ahead and try to match the cases. In this case, since the character is assigned with A, so this will match, this case A will match, and then it will print character is A, and then it will come out. Okay, so let us run this again. Press Ctrl F5. Okay, so the character is A. Okay, so now let us change it back to B. Okay, press again Ctrl F5. So it says none matched. Since there is no case B here, we have only one case, which is A. There is no other case, so it is going to go to default and then print that statement, and then it is going to come out. So now what I will do is I will slightly modify this program to check whether it is a vowel or not. So in this, what I will do is I will add case Okay, let me explain this part a little bit. So what happens here is, now ch is assigned with value A. So it is going to try to match this case A, and then if it matches, then it is not going to check any of these, and then it comes to this, and then it is going to print character is and character is a vowel. So character is not a vowel. Okay, so any of cases, if it matches, then it is going to print this, and then it will come out. So now another thing to note here is I cannot have only one console.writeline for each of them. Okay, like if I want to print A here, okay, character is vowel. So instead of that, what I can have is I can also have character is a vowel and then break. Okay, so instead of having that, what I will do is it will fall through okay, it will fall through one by one. So that means it is going to match. If any of these cases matches, then it is going to go ahead and print this line, which is character is a vowel. If any of these doesn't match, then it is going to go ahead and print character is not a vowel. So in this case, I will change this to O. So Control F5 again. So now it will fall through. Now case A is checked, it is not true. Case E is checked, it is not true. Case I is checked, it is not true. And then case O matches, then it prints this value, which is character is vowel, and then it comes out. Okay, so that is about switch statement. Let us go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Let us take a look at the next topic, which is loops. There are three types of loop. One is for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay, let us take a look at for loop now. In for loop, or any of these three loops, which is for loop, while loop, or do while loop, there are three things which is in common. First one is initial value, the second one is the condition, and the third one is either increment or decrement the value, and of course the statements which executes within the loop repeatedly. Okay, so in for loop, the execution starts, and then there is a initial value, then the condition is checked, the value is incremented, some other statements are executed, and these C and D is repeated until the value or the condition becomes false. So once the condition becomes false, then the loop execution ends. Okay, let us look at the other two loops, which is while and do while loop. In while loop, what happens is the initial value will be set before and the condition is checked and the statement is executed until this condition becomes false. That means in while loop the condition is checked first and then the statements are executed until the condition will become false. And in do while what will happen is it is guaranteed that it will execute the statement at least once. This is because in do while the condition is checked only at the end. So that means execution will start here, B gets executed, which is a statement, and then it checks the condition. If it is false, then the execution will end, else it will go back to this statement. It executes this statement until this condition becomes false. Okay, so let us take a look at the examples of these three loops. Let us switch over to Visual Studio. Okay, so I'm going to create another class here. Okay, I'm going to call this as for demo. Okay, since I can only have one main method, so I'm going to comment this one out. Okay, again I'm going to add main method here. Okay, let us try for loop first. So the syntax is for the initial value condition and then increment or decrement here. So this is the syntax of for loop, wherein inside the bracket the first statement is the initial value, the second statement is the condition, and the third statement is the increment or decrement operator. Okay, so now here, so what I will do is I'll just print hello 10 times. Okay, so what this will do is the initial value of int is 0, and then it will check the condition whether I is less than 10, and then it will increment the value every time this statement is executed. So here from the diagram, A is okay, B is C is I plus plus. Okay, so this is D. Okay, so what will happen is the initial value of I will be 0, and then it will execute this statement console.writeLine hello. So it will print hello, and then the value of I gets incremented by 1. I plus plus is equal to is nothing but I is incremented by 1. Okay, and then it checks the condition again. Since I is equal to 1 now, 1 is still less than 10, so it is going to go ahead and print. So again, for the next loop, I will get incremented by 1. So every time this D will get executed, and then I will be incremented by 1. Now when it becomes 10, after 10 times of printing this, it will go and increment the value again. So now the value becomes 11. Now this condition will become false, and then it will come out. Okay, so let us execute this and see. So I'm expecting it to print hello 10 times. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it has printed hello 10 times. Okay, so let us take a look at the break statement and continue statement here. I'm going to slightly modify this program. So I'm going to add an if statement. If I is less than 5, then continue. Let us execute and then see what will happen. So here hello is printed 5 times. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let us change this back to 4. Okay, again press Ctrl F5. So in this case also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this case it has printed 6 times. So in when I made it as 5, it has printed hello 5 times. What will happen here is, since this is looping over till this condition is satisfied. Okay, so when till this condition is satisfied, or whenever this condition is satisfied, it is not going to go to the next statement and print this value. It will go and continue the loop. So that means for I is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, it won't print the value hello, and then it will just continue the for loop. So that is why whenever I put in less than 4, it has printed hello 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue will, once this is executed, it will not execute the next statement but goes back to the loop. Okay, so this is about continue. So let us take a look at break statement now. Okay, I'm going to slightly modify this. Instead of continue, I have added break here. So what will happen here is, so once this condition is satisfied, it is going to break out of this for loop and then it is going to come out. So let us execute this and see. It should not print any. Yes, so it didn't print any. So for the first one, the condition is satisfied, it came out of the loop. It didn't even print this line. Okay, so what happened here is, it for I is equal to 0, this condition is satisfied, and then once the break is hit, then it will exit the for loop. So once this statement is executed, it will come out of the loop. But wherein in continue, once it hits the continue, then it will ignore the other statement, but it will continue with the loop. But in break, it will come out of the loop. Okay, so let us take a look at goto statement now. Okay, I have slightly modified the earlier program in which I have added goto statement here, and I have changed the if condition to I equals 4, and I brought in console.writeLine from outside to inside the if statement, and I have added this end block here. Okay, so what will happen here is, if this condition is satisfied, once I value becomes 4, then it will print hello and then it will go to end. That means the execution will switch from within this for loop to this statement, and then it will print this value and then the program will end. So let us execute this program and see. Okay, so now as you can see, once it hits the value of I equals 4, that means if this condition is satisfied, then it printed hello here, and after it is printing hello, it is not going to go into further looping, but instead it will switch the execution to this end block, which is end here, and then it will print this, hit the end of goto statement, and then it will come out. So that is what we have seen now. Okay, so let us take a look at while loop now. Okay, for that I have to add another class, which is while demo class. Okay, so before I add anything, I have to comment out this, as we can only have one main, and then I need to add main method here. Okay, the syntax of while loop is, okay, this is initial int I is equal to 0, then while I is less than 10. Okay, so we have initialized the value of I as 0, and then while I is less than 10, okay, and inside this we have to increment the value. I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, so this is my initial value, and here we are going to check the condition. So execute the statement and then increment the value. Okay, so this loop will get executed until that I condition becomes false. Okay. So here also it is printing hello 10 times. Now, as we have seen in for loop, we can also use continue, break, and then go to statement here also. You refer back to the earlier section for the same. Okay, so let us take a look at do while now. So I'm going to add another class here, which is do while demo. Okay, so I'm going to comment out everything in while, Control A, and then comment. So I need to add main here again, SPM. Okay, again the initial value, and I is equal to 0. Okay, the syntax is do flower bracket and then the statement, okay, and then increment value I is equal to I plus 1, and then the condition is checked here while I is less than 10. So you need to note one thing here, the while is written after the do flower bracket ends, and then it is followed by a semicolon. Okay, so again this is initial value. Okay, so this is the statement, and then this is the increment, and condition is checked here. Okay, so so let us execute and see. Okay, so it has printed hello 10 times again. Now what is the difference between while and do while? So let us add I as 10, sorry 11. In this case what will happen here is, so it will go into the do and then it will execute this hello at least once. Okay, and then it will check the condition here. The condition is false, but the statement will get executed at least once. Okay, let us press Ctrl F5 again and see that. Okay, So since I is equal to 11, so it is going to perform this action. It goes and prints hello, and then it checks the condition. Wherein if you have while loop, if you have the value of I as 11, then it won't even print the hello once. Since the condition is not satisfied at the beginning, so it won't execute any statement within the while loop, but in do while it is guaranteed that it will execute at least once. Okay, so we have looked at 3 different loops. Okay, now let us go back to for loop. For that we will comment out this do while and then go to for loop and then uncomment this. Now it is not mandatory that you have to have all these initialization and condition and increment in this bracket. So I can also have this outside. Okay, and I can also have this incremental value here. Okay, but make sure that you have semicolon for the initialization and semicolon after the condition. Okay, so these two are mandatory. At least the condition is mandatory for a for loop, but you can also have initial value declared outside and the increment or decrement within the for loop. So now this is exactly same as your while loop. Okay, that is the end of today's session. Please subscribe, share, comment and like the videos on this channel. Please stand by for more videos on C# programming. Thanks for watching.